Now, the naming of alkanes, if it is substitute with a halo group, halogens, so we say that they are haloalkanes. Now, for haloalkanes, according to the IUPAC rules for naming of alkanes, in fact, it can be applied to alkanes with halogens substituents. So the substituents include the fluoro group with a fluorine atom attaching, chloro group, a chlorine atom attaching, bromo group, Br atom attaching, or the aldo group, the aldine atom attaching. So they are named as prefix. So we will have prefix chloro and then one carbon, methane. And then if there are two chloro group, just similar to the one that we have as a dimethyl. So we have dichloromethane. While if we have a fluorine atom attaching with a propane, so the second carbon, this will be 2-fluoropropane. So the changing here, let's take a look. The fluorine atom is attaching with the first carbon. As a result, the first one will be the 1-fluoropropane. While if fluorine atom is attaching on the second carbon, it will be 2-fluoropropane. If there are two fluorine groups, that is two fluoro groups attaching to the 1 and 2 carbon, that is, it should be 1, 2, and then difluoropropane. So how to name this? This one, we contains of bromo group and then chloro group. So when more than one substituent is present, the main carbon chain is numbered from the end closest to the first substituent first. So it should be 1, 2, but not 2, 3. So the first substituent should be 1 is the chloro, so 1-chloropropane. While 2 is for the bromo, so 2-bromo, 1-chloropropane. The word bromo is going first because B is have a frontal position as in the alphabetical order than C. As a result, it should be starting with 2-bromo first and then 1-chloropropane. So a more complicated one, if there is bromo, fluoro, and then chloro. So the first one should be named as bromo first, and then chloro later, and then fluoro, difluoro. So for example, if there is more than one substituent is present, once again, the first substituent closest to the end will be having the lowest number. So that is here will be treated as the first substituent instead of the bromo group. So this one, the fluoro group labeled this carbon as 2 as a result. Although this one labeled as 3 and then this one is labeled as 2, we choose 2-1. So it is 2,5-difluoro. The second carbon here, third, fourth, and fifth carbon contain fluoro group as well. So 2,5-difluoro. And then the parent or the root. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it should be octane, difluorooctane. While the next one, it would be 2,5-difluoro, and then at the fifth carbon, also containing chloro, the sixth carbon containing bromodan. So, although if you label this one as 344, it seems that the numbers, the numerical values will be lower, but we choose the first substituents as the lowest first. So this one will be assigned as 2. So starting with 2,5-difluoro, and one more, we need to follow the alphabetical order for the substituents. Bromo go first, chloro next, and then fluoro will be the third one. So this is the classwork one. We will use another examples, another video to talk about with. So consider about another example here first. And this one is chloro and fluoro. Now you can see that the problem encountered here is both of them having the first substituent at the first carbon. As a result, this one is 1-chloro or 1-fluoro. So how can we name it? The first substituent is attached to the first carbon. So we need to consider the alphabetical order this time. So the alphabetical order of the first letter of the name of the substituents. So choral and floral. So we name it as one choral because choral go first. We also assign the first carbon to choral group. So it is named as one choral and three floral propane. So remember, if both of them are encountered in the first carbon, we follow the alphabetical order. The C will go fronted than the F in the alphabetical order. So choral group will be the first carbon. If we change to bromo here, then no longer having the free floral. Instead, we will use bromo group as the first substituents because B will arrange in a frontal position in the prefix. So we want to make this number smaller first. So bromo group will be assigned as first carbon. So this will be 1 bromo, 3 chloropropane. So that means if they are both having the first carbon containing the substituents, we use the alphabetical order to decide which one will be the first carbon. So just use the same case. If this is 1 choral 3 fluoropropane, when we change the choral group to be aldyl group, once again, because this time the floral group is the F has a frontal position than I in the alphabetical order. So once we place floral as first, then we treat it is the first carbon substitute. So floral group will be assigned in the first position. So this is 1 choral 3 fluoropropane. And then if it is attached with CH3, so what is your answer? You may pause and think about it first. In fact, remember, this is the longest carbon chain. As a result, this is 1 fluorobutane. So all the time, when you think about the CH3 group, you need to consider whether it is in the main carbon chain, that is in the root, or they are the substituents all the times. So the methyl group, if we really have the methyl group, in fact, we have to arrange it later. However, as it is the one that in the carbon chain, so the root will be 4 carbon atoms. How to name this? Like it will be 2 bromo and then 4 chlorohexane. So the first bromo group will be assigned as the smallest number. And then this one, because it is, if we count it on the right-hand side, it will be 1, 2, 3. The first substituents, if it is 3 for choral group, while the first substituents, if we count it on the left-hand side, is bromo group, it is to be assigned to be 2. 2 is smaller than 3. As a result, we assigned bromo group first. For this one, again, the first substituents, if it is assigned from the left-hand side, then it will be the second carbon. We have the methyl group. The third carbon, we have the choral group. As a result, it will be 3 choral, 2 methyl. The longest carbon chain is pentane. For this one, so we have 2 bromo group and then 1 choral group and then F floral group. Don't forget, the bromo group should be assigned as 1. Although both bromo and fluoro is as the first carbon, we need to assign the smallest alphabetical order one. So Br will be assigned as the first carbon. Attaching to the first carbon, we have dibromo. So it is 1,1 dibromo. And then at the second carbon, 2, there is a choral group, 2 choral. And then the third carbon, we contains floral group. So it will be 3 fluoropropane. So you may now try the classwork 1 now.